Hi Chris.
Hi David. Could we start with the team news ahead of the Brighton game on Tuesday, please?
Well, obviously, like every club in the Premier League, I think everybody's got lots of injuries or illnesses at the moment. We've had it with Naif Agard with illness. Kurt had a little bit of rocked his knee a little bit. Obviously, we lost Nketiah during the game. So at the moment, it's too early to assess any of them or give any real answer. But they're the ones. Hopefully they've got a chance. But obviously, it's a difficult time of the year. Lots of games coming up thick and fast.
I know you mentioned Paquetá there, but what would the likely treatment path be for him? Because it looked quite bad when he went down in the first half.
Yeah, well, I don't think it was when he went down it looked bad. I think that it was at the start of the game. He'd done it in the warm-up, obviously, and it was a decision, do we start him, and we chose to do so. We're not sure if it's a ligament or something. We're not sure if it's too serious. We think it should be okay, but again, we're waiting on scans, etc., before we can clarify exactly what it is.
Will he be out for the Brighton match?
I've no idea yet.
Too early. Okay. In terms of Mohamed Kudus, he's been incredible since he's joined. Will he be available for you for the Brighton match? Because I know Ghana have rescheduled a training camp.
Yeah, well, I can't give you an answer on that either, because I'm waiting on. No, we've got 3 or 4 players who are due to go to the African nations. We've not had confirmation on any of them really on their join update, which is incredibly strange that that's not come about. You'd have thought it would have been ready by now, and we're still waiting on that.
But with Kudus, it's very important that he is available for you for the Tuesday match.
Well, he's a really important player, so he would be to any team. So we're hoping that there's a chance that he could be, yes.
In terms of recruitment, transfer window opens next week. You've previously said how important good recruitment is to any manager keeping their role. Have you had a thought about players that you might like to bring in and positions you'd like to fill in January?
Well, we're always looking to try and bring in and add to the squad and keep pushing on to get better. I think it might be that we might be looking to maybe lose 1 or 2 players before we bring MD else in, and a lot will depend regarding players who are going to the African nations. It'll be dependent on injuries as well, which we've done very well with this season so far, but just in the last day or two picked up a couple of small injuries.
4 years ago today you returned to West Ham. It's been a great 4 years, but obviously your contract expires next summer. How important is it for you in terms of time? I know there's plenty of time to go, but to get that sorted so you're here beyond the summer.
I'm really happy in the environment I work in here. I enjoy working for the people around the club. All the people here are really supportive and help me. I've got a great team of players. We've built it over the 4 years, as you've mentioned, and we've come from quite a low level to a decent point at the moment. If we can keep that going, that'd be great. And I'm sure the other part of the contract will get sorted in due course.
So have talks begun to keep you here beyond the summer?
Just as I said, in due course we'll find out how things go.
When you did return here 4 years ago, your aim, as I know you've mentioned previously, was to keep West Ham in the Premier League. Obviously you've succeeded that in more. With the success that you've brought to West Ham, how have your ambitions for the club changed during that time also?
Well, West Ham have given me the chance to attain some of my ambitions, was to win a trophy, to challenge the top teams if I can, and I think in both of them then West Ham have allowed me to do that, so I've got a big thank you for them for bringing me back on the second occasion, but hopefully they would see that it's been mutual, that it's worked well for them as well.
And on Tuesday, West Ham versus Brighton is usually an exciting fixture. Have you had time yet to think about the Brighton game? I know we spoke to you 12 hours ago.
Well, let's be fair, Brighton have always been a big hoodoo club for us. We broke it at the start of this season, but over the years it's been an incredibly difficult game for us against Brighton, for whatever reason, I don't really know, but it'll not be any easier, because I think they've got a really good team, they've got a very good manager. They're like us, they're in the last 16 of Europe, and they're in a really strong league position, so very tight game, and we know we're up against it.
And just finally from me, you've had your final game of 2023. Did you ever think that you'd finish the year at West Ham 6th in the Premier League with a trophy? Maybe. That's what I'm pushing to do. My job's here to do that, is to try and push hard, and you know, I couldn't turn around and say it was guaranteed, but you know, we keep throwing a few punches and getting a few results, and if we can keep that going, let's be fair, we didn't do so well last year, but the 2 seasons before we finished 6th and 7th, so maybe we shouldn't be surprised that we're up there challenging to try and be around those positions again. PLP.
Congrats on the win last night.
Thank you.
Alvarez pretty much gave the perfect defensive midfielder performance, won all his duels, high pass accuracy, controlled the area in front of defence. The stats don't lie, he's 3rd in the league for midfielders for successful defensive actions. What specifics have you seen from when he joined the season about when he did start to now what he plays in his game in general? How has he evolved for West Ham so far?
I think the bigger thing for him is his adaptation to the Premier League, and probably the intensity, the consistency that all the teams in the Premier League show regarding performances. I think there's been games where Eddie's been so good, like he was against Arsenal. There's been other games where he's probably thought this game should be a bit easier, maybe it's not as tough, but the Premier League gives you no easy games. But new player coming into the Premier League takes a long time to settle. He's settled in really quickly. He's done a brilliant job for us, and you're right in what you said, is he done a lot of good things in the game and played really well against Arsenal.
Emerson was another spectacular defensive player. What's your philosophy as a manager when your defender is tasked against one of the best wingers in the league, Saka? Is your approach more tailored to the opposition player? Sometimes Saka prefers to cut in instead of actually taking on his man. So when you're prepping for the game, are you more opposition focused, or are you more balanced in just making sure Emerson has a more overall good performance?
Well, I think first of all, you're a defender. That's probably why you're called a defender, because your job's to stop their attackers. You're talking about one of the best wide players in this country, if not one of the best, certainly playing off the right, who has capabilities of going inside or outside. So you always try and give your fullbacks as much information as you possibly can. But when you're playing against Saka, very difficult to know if he's going to take you on the inside. He can beat you on the outside. I thought Emerson played really well overall in the game. I thought Saka made it really difficult for us in the opening 15-20 minutes in the game. I thought Arsenal were a big threat. His link up with Odegaard and Ben White down the right hand side is really strong. But I thought as the game went on, I thought Emerson, gained more confidence, grew into it, got himself. He can join in. He's a good fullback going forward. But for the majority of the game, he had his hands full dealing with Saka, but he done it well.
And finally, we saw the atmosphere that the West Ham supporters brought to the Emirates. At certain points, you could actually only hear them. It's been a wonderful year for you, and your first match in 2024 is at home against Brighton. What's your message to the fans ahead of the second part of the season?
We should all look back on 2023 with fond memories. Hopefully many of them were in Prague with us. If not, then were they on the streets when we brought the trophy back to London? But I think the aim now is to try and build on it again, make sure that 2024 is as strong. For me, I want them to be right behind the team. They've got some incredibly exciting players at the club. We want to attract more top players to West Ham in the future, and what they need to know is they need to see an atmosphere, they need to see supporters right behind the team, willing them on, because that's the way we'll be attractive to more top players.